Family, welcome to the Leadership Lounge. This is the moment of clarity, lessons in leadership. I'm Dr. Williams, and today we're going to talk about a topic that you need to know if you call yourself a leader. We're going to talk about effective communication. Listen, so what I want you to do is go in and share this out. Invite as many people as you can in. Invite your boss in if you're not the boss. And let's talk about effective communication just for a few moments. My guy, Mr. Skinny, what's good, man? Listen, every good leader, all great leaders are effective communicators. Listen, all great leaders are effective communicators. Notice what I didn't say. All great leaders are not necessarily charismatic communicators, but all of them are effective in how they communicate. And maybe you're leading on your job. Maybe you're leading at home. Maybe you're a mother or father. Maybe you're leading in some other capacity. But I'm here to tell you right now, today, that if you're not leading the way you're supposed to be leading, it could be because you're not an effective communicator. Listen, it's so critical. It's so critical to be an effective communicator, no matter what you're trying to do. Listen, and why is that critical? Because communication is what we call a meta skill. It's a skill that makes you better at everything you do. Like, think about it in the sports context. If you're a basketball player, footwork is a meta skill. It's a skill that makes you better at every single thing. Listen, you're a better jump shooter if you have good footwork. You're a better defender if you have good footwork. You make more layups when you have good footwork. You make more free throws when you have the proper footwork. And so communication is a meta skill. You may be leading on your job, but you're going to become a better husband, a better wife, a better father if you are an effective communicator. And so often leaders don't fine tune communication. And so they're not able to articulate their vision to people because they're not good communicators. Listen, that's so critical. That's so imperative that you work on your craft. And part of being a great leader is being an effective communicator. Listen, everybody is naturally talented, but everybody is not naturally effective. And so in order to be an effective leader, you've got to be an effective communicator. Listen, ineffectively communicating the right thought is just as detrimental as effectively communicating the wrong one. Listen, you have to be a communicator that knows how to get across your vision to the people that follow you so that they can implement it. Because let's be honest, the leader does not implement the plan. It's the people who follow that implement the plan. And so if you're going to be a great leader, you got to communicate your plan to the people that's following you so that the vision will come to reality. Listen to this quote. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Let me say that again. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. And the means and mechanism by which leaders translate that vision into reality is communication. And so often we can communicate, and you're a good leader if you can communicate, but you can only be a great leader if you can effectively communicate. So let's talk very quickly, and we're going to get out of here, about 3 things that you need to do if you're going to be an effective communicator in your leadership capacity, whether or not that's on your job, in your business, or even at your home. You have to do 3 things. Here's number 1. You have to be clear and concise. Listen, Albert Einstein says this: if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. You've got to be clear and concise in what you're trying to articulate. Why? Because if leadership is taking vision and making it into reality, then my ability to effectively articulate that vision is going to clearly align with whether or not I get success. And so often we're fussing at the people who follow us when we haven't articulated our vision effectively. Right? We haven't communicated it well. And so the first thing is you have to be clear and concise, whether or not that's verbally, whether or not that's in memos in your company, in your whatever enterprise you have, whether or not that's emails. You have to be clear and concise in how you articulate and communicate with people. Listen, one time I was working with someone and she put all the important stuff that she needed people to read at the bottom of the email, and then complained that the people didn't read it, and said, you know what, if you're going to be a professional, you need to read the whole email. And my question to her was, are you more concerned with their professional capacity, or are you more concerned with articulate your vision effectively? And so you have to be clear and concise. If you're trying to lead people, if you're trying to get them to be able to implement your vision, you've got to effectively communicate it to them. And that comes verbally or through email or through memos. However you're communicating, you have to be clear and concise. Listen, the second thing you have to do is you have to know your culture, right? It's not just what you say, it's what they hear you say. Let me say that again. It's not just what you say, it's what they hear you say. And so you have to know your culture. You got to know who you're speaking to. If you're coaching 6th grade basketball players, you can't use terminology that they won't understand, right? You have to know how to articulate your vision and your mission to the people. And the only way you're going to know how to do that effectively is to know your culture. You got to know how to code switch. There are some conversations and some terminology that you can use around certain people. And then there are other terminology and words and vocabulary that you can't use. You've got to know your culture. You got to know where you are, and you have to avoid, watch this, sarcasm. Sometimes in leadership, when we're articulating something to others, we can be very sarcastic, and sarcasm does not go over well with everybody. And it doesn't go over well with every culture. Listen, you also have to manage your body language. You can be saying something effectively, but your body language is saying something else. And so often we miss that as leaders. We are trying to articulate something, and the words that we're saying are great, but our body language is not inviting. Right? And if you're going to be an effective leader, because the goal is success at the end, then you have to understand that the success is contingent upon your ability to effectively communicate your vision to someone else. Right? So you have to be clear and concise. You have to know your culture. Watch this. The last thing, you have to check for understanding. The greatest enemy of communication is the illusion of it. Let me say that again. The greatest enemy of communication is the illusion of it. Just because you said it doesn't mean you effectively communicated it. Let me say that again. Just because you said it does not mean you effectively communicated it. You have to know what it is you want them to hear you say. Make sure they heard you, and make sure they're clear on the expectation. Listen, so often in our leadership circles, we're fussing and we're upset at the people who are implementing our plans, right? But we don't check to see if they even understood what we tried to articulate to them. Listen, you have to check for understanding. That's right. You have to be an active listener, right? You have to make sure that you're giving the people what it is that they need to be able to carry out your plan. Because watch this, as the leader, you're going to be responsible for the implementation, even though you're not the one implementing. Let me say that again. As the leader, you are ultimately responsible for the implementation, even though you're not the one that's implementing it. Listen, so if you want to be an effective communicator, it's 3 things that you need to do. You need to be clear and concise, whether or not that's verbally in front of your staff, one-on-one in meetings, whether or not that's through emails or memos. Be clear and concise. Listen, you need to know your culture, know what you can say and what you don't need to say. Right? Don't mince words. Don't waste words. Don't waste energy. Give them exactly what they need to do. Because guess what? The people who follow you, they appreciate the fact that you value them and you value their time and you don't waste it. Give them exactly what you want them to have and then get out of their way, knowing their culture, and then checking for understanding. Listen, if you're going to be a better father, a better mother, a better person, better leader in whatever capacity that is, you need to make sure that people understand what you need them to implement as a leader. Listen, are you an effective communicator? Because great leaders, all great leaders, whether or not they're charismatic or not, all great leaders are effective communicators. Listen, like, share, subscribe. Send this out to your boss. Send this out to as many people as you can. Thank you for coming into the Leadership Lounge. And remember, if no one's following you, you're just walking. Until next time.